Now we want to talk about style. Who recognizes this fabulous looking gentleman here? Who is that? That's Pablo Picasso. How many of you have heard of Picasso? Right? Picasso was the most admired artist of the 20th century. Why do I put him up there? Because please believe me when I tell you that there is a Picasso in everyone in this room. Please believe me when I tell you that we all have an artist or a genius within us. And by the way, for those of you who are saying, no, I'm not an artist, I'm not a genius, I'm going to ask you just for the next 15 minutes, try on this thought. Live in the space between agree and disagree. Because here's what I know. The moment I stood up here, you made a judgment on me. Now, some of you have had very good experiences with bald men with great accents in the past. And that's why when I stood up in front of you, you went, ooh, nice. Some of you, on the other hand, hate bald men with weird accents who are like loud. And you made an immediate judgment on me. You allowed your past to get into your future. Do you get that? So I'm going to ask you from this moment on, when you go into a meeting, especially those meetings that you have with people that you always have meetings with, tomorrow, live in the space between agree and disagree. Suspend your judgment. Be open to new possibilities and they will find you. Because you think people don't know when you've shut down, you think people don't know when you've made a call on them, you don't have to say anything. You just have to give them the look. You know what the look is. How many meetings have you been in where someone's giving you this version of the look? And the look is compounded by the eye roll. And the eye roll is compounded by the head nod. Look, the one thing that will kill relationships faster than any other thing, whether it's personal or professional, is treating the other person with contempt. There's a great book you should read. It's called Blink by a man called Malcolm Gladwell. It's been on the bestseller list for like 6 months. And he studied why marriages come apart. And the number one reason is when one spouse treats the other with contempt. We can handle anything as human beings, but we cannot handle being treated with contempt. Anyway, let me get back to my point. So everyone in this room has a Picasso within them. You have a genius within you. Now, some of you are using your Picasso and your genius every day, and some of you are not. But until you find your Picasso, until you are doing that thing for which you are designed to do, you cannot be as successful as you can be. So, for example, in case you haven't noticed, my Picasso is talking. My 13-year-old calls me Mr. Motormouth. And the reason why I talk so much here is she doesn't listen to me at home. I mean, wouldn't you imagine that a 13-year-old would be thrilled to get free nightly motivational seminars? So the other night, I'm talking to her about something, and she looks at me and gives me a look that only a 13-year-old can give her father. And she says, Dad, I'm not a delegate. I don't have to listen. But then guess what? So then I eavesdrop. I stand outside a room, and she's talking to her friend on her cell phone. And I hear her say, Jamie, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And I'm going, yeah. So don't think you're not making a difference, because you are. All right? So what's your Picasso? You see, if you truly understand what your Picasso is and you're playing to that Picasso, then you will be confident. So I know without a shadow of a doubt that when it comes to delivering this kind of seminar, I'm as good as anyone in my field at doing this. However, if you were to call me in to help you squeeze efficiencies out of your corporate infrastructure, I might not be the right guy. If you're looking for someone to help you cut cost, outsource, or delayer, I'm not the right guy. But if you're looking for someone to touch, move, inspire, excite, and infuse your people with a sense of possibility, I'm the guy. Because I'm talking from my Picasso. Does this make sense? Let's now go from Picasso, which is your core strength, or in the language of sales, your number one feature, to your promise. Now, the promise is the primary benefit that you deliver to others. It's the number one reason why they should hire you. How many of you in this room have heard of something called the elevator pitch? Okay, not too many. Well, let me give you this. The elevator pitch is the kind of pitch you would make to a prospect if you were putting a call through to someone who didn't return your calls. How many of you are sitting here right now and for whatever reason you've called someone and they didn't return your call? Can I see a show of hands? Doesn't it drive you crazy? Why didn't they return your call? Share with me. They weren't interested, and why were they not interested? Because you didn't get their interest. Here's another Lipkinism. Until you get my attention, you are nothing but an interruption. You didn't make a promise that cut through their overwhelm. Because what's people's biggest fear if they call you back? What's their biggest fear if they call you back? You're going to waste their time. And I don't know about you, but there's so many people who call me who don't have the right to call me. And what do I mean by that? They don't make the 5 or the 10 or the 15 minutes I give them a marvelous experience. They don't give me a reason why I will be successful. I'm doing some work with GE right now. Is anyone here from GE? Okay, great organization. And I'm working specifically with what they call their Capital Solutions Group. This is where they finance equipment. And at GE, their philosophy is, let's partner with our customers to make them best in class. I love that. Let's not just give our customers a machine. Let's partner with our customers to make them best in class. How amazing is that? I mean, how's that for a promise? Right? So the elevator pitch is, you've called someone who hasn't returned your call, but one day you find yourself in an elevator and you're at the ground floor and you're going to the 50th floor, and you know based on past experience that you have 60 seconds between ground floor and 50th floor. And just before the doors close, this very person that you have been trying to connect with gets into the elevator with you. You recognize them, they recognize you, they try and escape, but the doors close. And they're now on the express elevator to the 50th floor, and it's just you and them. Could you in that time give them such a compelling reason to do business with you that they would take your call the next time you called? That's what I'm talking about by your promise. So I gave you my promise earlier on in terms of the proprietary insights that ignite your imagination, that get you so excited, that you take the action that will get you the results that you want, and I communicated that in 30 seconds. What's your version of that? So your promise is your strategy articulated to the other person. Does that make sense? And once again, I will share with you, there's so few people who can make me a promise that excites me and that differentiates them from everybody else making the same promise. And the test that you want to put the promise through is, would this get me emotionally excited to work with you? Because here's the thing. Human beings are 99% emotion, 1% reason. And we 1% reason to justify our emotions. Have you noticed? Have you noticed how creative people will become to justify what it is that they truly want? I have a friend, he just bought himself a Porsche Cayenne. He spent almost $100,000 on a motor car. Why would you do that? So I said to him, Jack, why would you do that? He said, durability. I said, do me a favor. He said, resale value. Eventually, after half a bottle of Pinot Noir, he told me the truth. He said, Mike, I don't drive that car. I wear it. Right? So what's your promise? Let's now go to the next one, which is your style. How many of you have heard of a man called Ivan Pavlov? You know the story. He lived about 60 years ago. And you know what he did? He fed a dog, and as he fed the dog, he rang a bell. Fed the dog, rang a bell. After 3 days, he said to the dog, what are you eating? And the dog said, I don't know, but its name rings a bell. What did the dog do when it heard the bell ring, even when there was no food? What did this dog do? It salivated. Why? Because it associated the food stimulus with the bell stimulus with food being the reward. Here's my question to all of you. When people think of your face, do they salivate? Right? Right? Because what does your style do? Now, I am consciously being flamboyant here. I'm consciously being passionate here. I'm consciously being both funny and highly energized here. But I'm also being pretty intense here. You know, there's a lot of seriousness in my message. I can decode the truth so you take it willingly. I am a 21st century court jester. I make you smile so you listen to what I'm saying. So what is your style? How would you describe your style? Now, some of you may have a style that is substantially more understated than mine. Some of you might have a style that might even be more flamboyant than mine. That doesn't matter. But what does matter is that you have a style, and it's a style that's uniquely yours. Because of all the things I'm going to share with you, this phrase may be the most important. Live the perception you want others to have of you. Here's another Lipkinism. The quality of your entire future is a function of the quality of every conversation you have with every person. The quality of your entire future is a quality of the conversation that you have with every person. Right? So if I'm having a good conversation with you now and I impact you now, you'll take a great impression away with you of me, and you'll be an advocate for me out there in the marketplace. You are judging me by my actions today, but you are judging yourself every day by your intentions. Have you noticed? We judge ourselves by our intentions. We judge others by their actions. And here's what else I want to share with you. Everyone is watching you all the time. Live your life according to that principle, that there's a cosmic webcam tracking your every move. Who are you being when you're not aware of being observed? Let me tell you a story that happened to me the other day. I'm flying from Toronto to Vancouver. It's 4:30 on a Thursday, and I was shattered. I was exhausted. I had one of those days when it took all I had just to keep up with the losers. Ever had a day like that? I'm standing in the business class lineup. I cannot wait to get to the lounge to meet my two friends, Johnny Walker and Jack Daniel. And all of a sudden I hear my name called by a woman who had been in my program 3 weeks before. She looks at me and I look at her, and she looks at me and she says to me, "Excuse me." I said, "What?" Wasn't in the mood. She said, "Excuse me." She said, "Are you Mike Lipkin?" I said, "Yes." And then she says to me, "Shouldn't you be smiling?" It was a little wake-up call, right? Mr. Motivator here wasn't being very motivational. So what's the perception you want others to have of you? Live it.